When we type a website name on the search bar of the browser and when we click enter, then a beautiful web page comes in front of us. So how it is so and why it is so? In this very tiny process, lot of things are going on behind the scene and in the background. Lot of things are getting processed. So we have to understand those things to understand the web development properly. Because in order to understand the server and client, we have to understand these things first. So let's see. Firstly, let me take an example www.example.com. This is just an assumption example.com. So this is our example website. So I'm just typing this website name on my web browser search bar and I'm clicking enter. When I will click enter, something called domain name system server. Domain name system. I will tell you what it is, just don't worry about it. So domain name system is just a body. It is a body. So domain name system DNS. DNS server. DNS server will translate. DNS server will translate this name into an IP address. An IP address. I hope you know what is an IP address. IP address is something which is a unique address provided to all the users which are connected to the internet. So this DNS server will translate this domain name. It is also a domain name, not a website. Normally we speak that it is a website, it's a website, but actually in standard language it is known as, or according to the computer science language, it is a domain name. So that domain name is getting translated into an IP address, and this IP address is associated with a web browser. Sorry, web server. And this web server, so this DNS server, just after translating the domain name into an IP address, it will send a request to this to the web server which is associated with this IP address. So this is the web server which is associated with this IP address. So this DNS server will send a request to this web server request. And then what this web server will do, this web server, I will tell you what is web server also, don't worry about it. This is just an example that I want to show you. So what this web server will do, this web server will process the request. It will process the request and give a relevant response according to the request. So it will respond. It will give a response according to the request. And what this DNS server will do, whatever be the response, it will give it to the web browser. So the web browser will show you the response. This is the actual thing which happens behind the scenes when we are typing the website name and when we are clicking it. Now you will say that this DNS server, if this DNS server will translate this domain name into IP address, how it translates? So actually, it is not converting it into an IP address, it is just retrieving the data. Let me tell you a fact that if you want to host your website on World Wide Web, or if you want that everyone in the world can access your website, then you will have to pay some money. You will have to pay some money to get this domain name. To get this domain name, you will have to pay the money, and to host your website you will have to pay the money. So what happens is, when you will buy this domain name, a specific IP address would be assigned to this domain name or mapped with this domain name, or that IP address is of a server. So this to this domain name and IP address is assigned by the domain name systems service. So whenever any request comes on this website, so that request would be forwarded to the web server which is associated with the IP address of this domain name. This is the actual thing which happens. And don't worry, what is request? Request means if you will click a button, then that is also considered a request. If you will click a button, single button, or anything that you will be doing on any website, it is considered as a request. If you will click something, then it is a request. If you will fill a form and submit that form, then that is also a request. So these are the requests. So whenever you will do something on a website or some such type of things, then a request would be arrived. And whenever a request arrived, then that request would be sent to the web server which is associated with the IP address of that domain name. So these are the most important thing that you should know before starting the client side, server side, and web development. Because if I will tell you the what is client, what is server, how server works, how client work, what is client side architecture, so you will get confused because you don't know, actually don't know what happens, or what what is the usage of this server and all these things in real life. So you always type the website, you are using the websites, so it is important for me to tell you that how these websites work, so that you can relate with the servers and all. So I hope this thing is clear. If you are having any doubt related to this, so you can comment below. I will try to solve it. Thank you.